Welcome to How to Cook That. I'm Ann Reardon and today I'm going to show you how to make bright colours out of fondant, how to make black and how to make every colour you'll ever need from only buying 5 gel colours. You don't need to go out and buy all of them. I have 100 grams of fondant or 3.5 ounces here. So to start with, we're going to colour this red and we're going to add just 1 drop of red and then a bit more and then a bit more so that you can see how much colouring you need to get bright colours. Now this fondant is really hard because it's cold here at the moment, so to make it softer and easier to mix, I'm going to put it in the microwave for just 5 seconds only. No more for this small amount or you end up with it completely liquid. The first thing I do when I'm going to colour fondant is wash my hands really well and dry them, and then spray on some spray cooking oil. This is just canola oil, and rubbing it on your hands means the fondant won't stick to your skin. It also means if you do get any food colour on you, it comes off a lot easier. Now, firstly, I'll show you what 1 drop of red to 100 grams or 3.5 ounces of fondant turns out like. Add the colour to the very centre and then fold it over and seal it all the way around the edges. Fold it over again and keep folding it until you can just see the colour is about to break through there. Now if it does break through, it's going to go on your fingers, it's going to go on the counter. So at this stage, I like to get a plastic food bag and put it inside and then massage it really well. This helps to not get too much colour on your hands, which is important, especially if you're about to film a video. So that's why I like to put it in the bags like this. And keep mixing until you can't see any more colour sticking to the bag. Once it's all on the fondant and there's no liquid on the bag, then it's okay to take it out and massage it through the fondant, just using the palms of your hands to get that colour really evenly mixed through. And as you can see, mixing takes a while, so knowing how much colour to add in the first place will help you not waste your time mixing and then adding a little bit more and mixing again, adding a bit more and mixing again. Now you can see here, adding 1 drop is not going to make your fondant red. It's a pale pinky colour. Now to our next lot of fondant, I'm going to add 1/2 ml of colour. Now I'm using a medicine measurer here to get this accurate, and you're going to add it to the centre of the fondant just like we did before. And again, I'm using 100 grams or 3.5 ounces, so you can scale up these amounts of colouring according to how much fondant you need. When I'm adding more colour like this, instead of just folding it over, I like to mix it in with a fork first, and that just seems to make it mix in faster. It kind of makes a paste of the fondant colour rather than it just being the gel which just bursts out everywhere and it's just harder to mix it in. Fold it over, get everything off your fork, and then you definitely just need to put this in a bag straight away unless you want your hands to be coloured a different colour, and then keep mixing it and squeezing it and mixing it until no colour is sticking onto the inside of the bag, and then you can take it out and massage it between your hands. Now you can see that has given us a deeper colour. If you add a few more drops at this stage, it'll make no difference. If you want to have an impact on the colour, you're going to have to double the amount of colour. That's right, not just a few more drops. So this time I'm going to add 1 ml to 100 grams or 3.5 ounces of fondant, so you can see what that looks like. So 1 ml, double of what we did before. Mix it around with your fork, fold it over, put it in the bag, massage it. It's so much easier in fast forward. Keep your hands and your counter clean, and then finally give it a good massage, and now you can see we have red fondant. So we started with 100 grams or 3.5 ounces of fondant each time, plus gel food colouring, and we're comparing 1 drop versus 1/2 ml versus 1 ml. So there is your comparison. 1 drop gives you a pale pinky colour, 1/2 ml and you're getting a reddish colour, but it's still a little bit pale. 1 ml per 100 grams is going to give you that bright, deep colour. So that's about 1/4 teaspoon. For those of you who are not familiar with mils, 1/4 teaspoon is 1.25 mils. So that will give you about this colour. Half of that will give you this colour, and 1 drop will give you the pale one. The next thing to consider is what brand of colouring should you buy. There are so many. Today I'm going to compare 4 of them. There's Wilton, that one's really well known. This is Pro Gel, Chef Master, and then Artisan. Now for each of these pink gel food colours, you take 100 grams of fondant and add 1 ml of food colouring and mix them in, and the results you get are remarkably different one to the other. So you can see there, if you're after a really bright pink, you're going to need to go for the Pro Gel or the Wilton. The Chef Master and the Artisan are a completely different shade. No matter how much you add, you're not going to get that bright pink colour. The other weird thing I've noticed with pink colouring is that it tends to fade in the light. So to test these brands, I'm wrapping one end in foil to protect it from the light, and then we'll leave that for a couple of hours to see if they fade or not. You don't want to spend hours decorating a cake and covering it, and then you end up at the end of the day with it being a different colour to what it was when you mixed the fondant. 2 hours later, if we unwrap them, the Artisan one, you can see there is quite a difference between this tone and that one, so it's definitely faded. Just over 2 hours, and that's quite a big difference in 2 hours. If we look at the Chef Master one, that is also faded. Pro Gel, that colour is actually pretty steady. It's slightly less, but not really noticeable. And then finally the Wilton one. There's a very slight difference, but it's not really noticeable. I have had Wilton Pink that came in their Colour Right set fade really badly before, but the colours that are in the pots seem to be more stable. I haven't noticed this problem with any other colours so far, just with pink. Let me know if you've had any colours fade on you. Now before we move on from pink, lots of people have asked me, can I use liquid food colouring instead of gel food colouring? So for this I've added 1 ml of the Queen Rose Pink liquid colouring to 100 grams of fondant. And yes, it works fine to colour it pink, but you can see it's not as intense as the gel colouring was. Also, it can make the fondant a bit sticky. So with this one, I added a teaspoon of extra icing sugar to stop it sticking everywhere. So yes, you can use the liquid colour. You'll just need to use more of it to get a brighter colour, and too much liquid will make your fondant sticky, but to fix that, you just need to add more icing sugar to your fondant. Now to make black fondant, lots of people struggle with this one. Again, it's the amount that you need to add. You just need to add 1 ml of black gel food colouring per 100 grams or 3.5 ounces of fondant, and mix it in how I showed you. If you don't add enough, you'll end up with grey and not black. So most people just start adding a little bit and they add more and more and more and more, and you're mixing and mixing and mixing. And if you just add the right amount at the beginning, it'll be a lot less frustrating. Now for all your other colours, you only need 5 colours of gel colouring to get everything. So you'll need black, and for that I used Artisan Midnight Black, magenta or a deep pink, and I used the Pro Gel Pink for that. A bright yellow, I made that using Artisan Sunshine Yellow. Again, it's 1 ml per 100 grams or 3.5 ounces for all of these. And cyan, which I made using Artisan Azure Blue. Now we can mix those together to make every other colour except for red, so you'll need to buy red as well. Let's mix some colours. Now if you have 2 parts of yellow and you add 1 part of cyan, you get this nice bright green colour. It's really nice and fresh there. If you want more of a yellowy green, then just add 2 parts yellow to 1/4 part of cyan and mix, mix, mix. You know that mixing takes the longest, and you have a nice caterpillar green there. If you mix 2 parts of pink and 1 of cyan together, what do you think you'll get? I hope you said purple, because you'll get a really deep purple. If you want a lighter purple, you can just add white to lighten that down. The important thing to know here is that mixing pink with cyan makes purple, but if you mix red with cyan, you won't get purple. I'll leave that one there and show you what I mean. If we have 1 cyan with 2 reds, here we go, let's mix them together. Mix, mix, mix. What do you think we're gonna get? You can probably see there, we are not getting purple, we're getting like a dirty grey browny colour. And that's why you need your pink or your magenta colour as your base and not red. Just like in your printer, you start with cyan, magenta, yellow and black to make all of the colours. To make orange, take 2 yellows and 1 pink and mix them around together. Mix, mix, mix. and boom, a nice clean bright orange. So what if you want brown? Well, for that you'll need 2 parts yellow, 1 pink and half a cyan. And don't worry, I am going to write all of this down for you as a chart on howtocookThat.net with drops and teaspoons. So if you start with white fondant, how many drops of cyan, how many drops of yellow will you need to add to make these colours? What do you get if you mix 2 cyan with 1 yellow? Quickly think of your predictions before it mixes. Yes, you get a nice aqua green. I hope you got that one right too. And what if I wanted more of like my skin tone color? There are so many different skin tones, but I'm going to try and make my skin tone. For that, we're going to need some pink, some yellow, and a teeny bit of cyan, and mix those together. Now it's too dark, so I'm going to add some white to make it paler, and a bit more white, and that gives me a pretty good base colour. That looks pretty similar to my skin colour. If we just used some powdered food colouring to add some shading, that would be pretty spot on. So with just the 5 gel colours, cyan, pink, black, yellow and red, you can make every colour that you need. You don't need to buy lots of other colours. All of these ones are just made mixing those gel colours together. There's no other food colouring here. So I'll put a chart on the howtocookThat.net website for you that tells you exactly how many drops or teaspoons of each colour you need to add to make each of these colours. And remember, if you don't like the taste of fondant, you can also add clear essences to flavour it. So peppermint essence and lemon essence work really well. Fondant just tastes really sweet. If you imagine eating any of your lollies, your M&Ms, any of that candy without flavouring, it would just taste really sweet and you wouldn't like it. But if you add a flavouring to it, it will be good. But they don't add flavouring to it before you buy it because it might not go with your cake flavour. So you can, depending what flavour cake you do, flavour your fondant to go with it. I hope that helps you in your cake decorating endeavours. Click here to go to my channel, here for 70 Russian piping tips, here for crazy chocolate balloon bowls, and here for my Winnie the Pooh cake. Make it a great week and I'll see you on Friday.